Hey guys, James here today and welcome back to another Sims 4 building video. This one today is a little bit different. I feel like everyone, if you didn't see this the other day, give it a search here on YouTube. You'll see what it's all about. Just search Laurel versus Yanny and you'll have a fun time reading about that. But you know what, I was thinking, why don't we do a build that's based around this, because it's kind of a silly idea and it's just a silly little thing. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to see if I can spell out both of these, I guess names is what they're supposed to be here in The Sims 4, but have them in the same lot. So as I guess you might be able to tell from the thumbnail, I was able to do it by having Laurel on the side and Yanny on the roof. And I'll tell you what, actually, it took ages to just build these letters. Like, I was trying to figure it out because, especially the R. The R was a bit strange, but I think it worked out in the end. We got our R going there. And I wanted to actually make this somewhat usable. So I did actually, the interior is actually surprisingly spacious. So get excited for that. I think this build actually turned out really nice. It almost ends up looking like some sort of like modern apartment block or something, which I think is kind of fun. Now, I would have done, my initial idea was I didn't originally want to put the Yanny on the top. I wanted to actually put it on the other side, but because I have a different number of letters, it wasn't really going to work because it's just not going to fit, and you can't really change the size of the letters in this as it is. So so I started off by doing it on the roof, and then I think I added a question mark to it in the end because I was like, it needs a little bit more. So the idea was I was going to see if I could just have these intersect like vertically and horizontally to create the interior space, but that was just going to be a nightmare. Like, I don't think there's going to be any room on the interior for that at all. So I decided that what we'd do, I'll just start off by building the letters and seeing what the kind of shape and the sizes that we're working with. And I gotta say, it looks kind of cool. Like, it actually turned out quite cool. Also, apparently building a question mark was the hardest hardest character. Because for some reason it took me ages to get it right. I just couldn't get the shape going. There you go. That's kind of right. Beautiful. So there you go. Laurel or Yanny. I wonder which one it could be. It's up to you to decide. Leave your comment down below which one you think this build really is. So I decided, I started off like this, and I was like, okay, well, the other side, I feel like we got to have Laurel again. I feel like the sides are going to be that, and then the roof is going to be Yanny. So I built the same thing over here. I tried to clone it as much as possible because it was fairly tedious. Even though it doesn't look that tedious here in the time lapse, it was kind of annoying to build this thing. And also because there's so many different little rooms. No, actually, I'll tell you what, when I came to painting the walls in this, that was kind of annoying, doing all the colors and that, because I was trying to paint each of the letters separately to the other ones, and it was just... I can say, if you wanna build a thing in The Sims that's built out of letters, go for it. It's a little tedious, but it's possible. Oh, look at that, it's beautiful. And I had to figure out how to. I think the ends turned out okay because I didn't really have enough room to build an end properly. Kind of same with the Y, because the letters are 4 tiles wide. It was kind of hard to make a Y that looked somewhat normal. But I think the important thing is, as long as you can understand what it says, which you clearly can. That's all that matters, isn't it? Isn't that what matters at the end of the day? So I thought this would be kind of funny and a little bit silly. It's a build that's a little bit different, but I think it's cool. It's cool. But which one is it? Which one do you think it is? Is it Laurel or Yanny, this build? Because I couldn't tell. So the interior, I decided to leave the interior because, well, first of all, to be quite frank, it's a silly build. Just I built it for a joke because I thought it was funny, and I was like, I don't really want to spend hours and hours on something that's a little bit silly on the outside. But I left it quite open and spacious, and I was thinking when I actually built it. And I put in a bunch of windows as well, so it's actually... And I completely decorate the outside. The outside's completely finished and all that in terms of decorations and landscaping. But then I left the inside empty, and it kind of looks like it could easily be like a bunch of... It could be a bunch of retail stores. Like, you could divide it up and create almost like a little strip mall. Or it could be some sort of warehouse kind of thing. Or it kind of looks like it could be like some modern apartment block as well. I think I mentioned earlier. It kind of looks like it could be that. So there's a lot of option, and I actually love to see what you guys would make out of this, because it's up on the gallery, which I'll leave a link down below if you want to download this. So download it and turn it into something, because it could be anything. I think the backstory to this, the reason why it wasn't furnished, I said the construction company couldn't decide what to put in it. Is it Yanny stuff or Laurel stuff? Who knows? We just can't decide. So they left it blank and it sits dormant. That wasn't the whole description. I ad-libbed a lot of that just now, but there you go. Yeah, so doing this roof, by the way, this is what I was talking about, just painting all this, because I wanted Yanny to be like the sort of brown, sort of more natural tones, and then I wanted Laurel to be the clean, crisp white. So they had the nice contrast, and because I wanted to use the white to give it the sort of modern feel, and then I'm using the more brown backing so we could bring in the natural colors, because I'm going to do a lot of plant life on this, a lot of foliage, a lot of grass, and there's going to be a lot of green and natural stuff mixed into it as well. So I wanted that sort of brown color on that, so we could use that, sort of utilize that in the rest of the build as well when we went to landscaping it. Because I was like, it's essentially a big block. I mean, look, it's a 3D rectangle with letters on it. Essentially. So I'm trying my best, disguise that as a build rather than anything else. So I decided on the roof, I've been doing this a lot lately in a bunch of builds, is actually doing a bit of a green roof here. So doing a lot of sort of growing grass and flowers and ferns and all that. So it's a really green environment and really quite natural, which there's actually a really cool, it's a really cool apartment block sort of near where I live that has this really heavily plant sort of inspired theme to it, much like this in a way. It's got all these plants hanging all over the walls. It's like all over the place. It's a very green place. It's little ponds and all that around it. It's actually really cool. So I always get inspired by that, and I think that this sort of reflects that. The roof it's a very sustainable building. Like if you're living in this or running a store in this, you can rest assured that you're giving back to the environment by having all these plants up there. I reckon they should have like solar panels in The Sims 4 that sort of reduce your bills at the end of the month, because that'd be cool. Also, like a water tower. You should be able to live like completely sustainably. Why can't you? I don't know. You should be able to though. Anyway, I wanted to do like some hanging plants as well, so it's sort of growing down from the roof. I didn't want to go too overboard with it, and I think I changed that little front bit anyway because I do the entrance there soon. But I do use a lot of this sort of ivy on the walls, or whatever it actually is, sort of growing up the walls on the front here and on the sides of all of it. So I did this as my entrance, and I decided to do like a little skylight here as well, using these little glass awnings, which I always think look pretty cool, because if you line them up with the sort of top of the half wall, it looks like it's actually like a little raised skylight kind of thing. So that's always a fun one. And then throughout the rest of this, we just doing windows sort of between all the letters, and I think it works really well. It works really well to turn it into something that isn't letters. And it makes it look more just like a regular building. Even though it's there. You can see, you're like, yeah, no, I see what that says. I see what it says, but I don't agree with it. I don't agree with that sort of sentiment, but, you can't have it all. So then I wanted to also just darken down the roof here a little bit, because I think that looked much better. I think that those sort of dark concrete color blends really nicely with all the greens and that. And then just doing all these little sort of, I guess they're technically balconies on the letters. I don't know. I was actually like surprised how this turned out. I was like, this actually looks kind of good. At the end of the day, it looks kind of good. And I decided to do, so out on this space, I wanted it to just be like a pedestrian area, to hang out and walk around and all that. So I did a couple of little flower beds out of these circle bits of like foundation, or circle bits of, I guess, flooring. So using those, we can do like sort of curved fences and make them look kind of fancy, get some flowers in there. And then I just did like a little bush. And then I just duplicated that one all the way along. And I did the same on the other side as well, which is where I sort of got the idea that it kind of looks like it could be a sort of strip mall kind of thing, have little shops on the sides there. I think that'd be kind of cool. So I was like, that could actually work quite well. So that's where that idea came from. And then I also do some more plants on this side. And I do some lighting actually going as well through like the little shrubs there. So you have these nice large sort of street lamps lighting up the whole place. But I think this is one silly joke that turned out somewhat decent. It's just so stupid. It's so stupid, but it's so great. Nice. Oh man, I really wanted to have curved benches here. Actually, I wish we had like inverted curved benches to place around these, but it's like they didn't exist, obviously, because why would they? It seems like a very very niche requirement for seating in the game. So in the end, I actually didn't do any because I was like, it's not really. It looked worse having benches there than not. Because it kind of looks like you could just sit on that little concrete or that little block fence anyway. So it's like, you know what, I might just leave that without a fence. Yeah, so on the interior, I decided to just, you know, sort of neaten it up a little bit. I did some columns here and there just on the sides of it because the upper level sort of is inset a little bit. So it seems like it should have some sort of support on those from the bottom. And it's also all like concrete walls and then sort of concrete flooring as well. So it's a very, very blank canvas on the interior. So I left it that way so you could just move it, like not move it, but download the slot and redecorate it to exactly what you'd want it to be. And I can't wait to see some of the things that you guys do. Make sure to send them through to me on like Twitter or something like that. That's going to be your best bet. And I can't wait to see it. But there you go. Is it Yanny or is it Laurel? I just cannot tell. Which one could it be? You decide. Oh, it depends. You know what? I think the lesson we can learn from this build is it all depends on perspective. From the side here, it's Laurel. But from the top and from a different angle, it's Yanny. But you just don't know. But I think, like, looking at the build, like, if you ignore the fact that we have letters on the outside, I think it's a pretty cool looking place. This is a little bit of fun. And so that is the interior there that you can see, and just a really simple floor plan of what it looks like. It's basically a big rectangle, and then we have the overview from there. I tell you what as well, if you look at this from the map view in game, it looks pretty funny. But anyways, guys, make sure to download this on the gallery if you're interested, and also check out some other builds here on screen. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my merch store for cool t-shirts and phone cases and pillows and all that kind of stuff. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Oh, I already said that. And have an awesome day.